Good morning to everyone. My name is Joel Ocasio-Marcano, Interim Deputy Director of the Procurement Division for the CDBG-DR and CDBG-MIT programs. In this private meeting, we're going to explain the process for the CDBG-DRMIT-RFP-2022-01. Request for proposals for architectural, engineering, and management services for CRP, SIH, and SIH-MIT under the housing sector. I would like to introduce my team from PRDOH. Along with me is Ruth Hernandez Mendez, Technical Specialist. Ibelis Rivera, Point of Contact from CDBG-DR SIH, and from our grant manager. Also, Ivana Harrington from Federal Compliance Area from our grant manager too. Any questions submitted in this meeting will be answered in writing and will be published in an addendum. Any information provided in this meeting does not change the terms and conditions established in the request for proposals instructions. All procurement processes shall be conducted in accordance with the terms and conditions established in the procurement manual for the CDBG-DR program to guarantee full and open competition and fair treatment of all persons and entities involved in each procurement process. The procurement manual is available in our webpage, www.cdbg-dr.pr.gov, and it is incorporated by reference and made an integral part of this RFP. As I said, nothing in this pre-bid meeting will change any of the terms of the RFP except what will be written as an amendment in an addendum. Now, I will leave you with Ibelis Rivera, who will explain the scope of work. Ibelis.
Good morning, my name is Ibelis Rivera. Today we're going to discuss the scope of services for the architectural, engineering, and management services as established on the request for proposal documents. Part of the agenda today, we're gonna have a quick overview of the programs, program description, we will discuss the program services that the PRDOH is program, including the community resilience centers set aside and the social interest housing program to the community development block grant disaster recovery funds and the social interest housing mitigation program through the community development block grant mitigation funds. Through the City Revitalization Program, or CRP program, the PRDOH will work with the municipal governments and non-governmental organizations to help shape the future vision of their communities by allowing a wide range of activities that center around the needs of downtown areas, urban areas, and key corridors identified through various post-disaster planning processes. The goals of the CRP program are to restore infrastructure that was impacted by the hurricanes and to make these facilities more resilient to future events. Also, use funds to revitalize and create green business districts that can support and promote small business recovery and encourage tourism, and to create a known network of clearly identified and registered community resilience centers across the island to support communities before, during, and after disasters. The Community Resilience Centers will provide critical preparation and recovery activities during adverse events and increase social resilience through year-round, day-to-day functions. The CDBG-DR Social Interest Housing Program, or SIH program, creates housing to highly vulnerable populations such as, but not limited to, homeless persons, senior citizens, domestic violence victims, persons with intellectual disability, persons with developmental and physical disability, persons living with AIDS, individuals recovering from addiction, and individuals with other functional or access needs. The goal of the program is to address the unmet need by creating high-quality, modern, resilient housing solutions for these populations. Finally, the CDBG-MIT Social Interest Mitigation Program, or SIH-MIT, will address the varying and localized need for mitigation against several hazardous threats. One of the main goals of the program is to fund projects to address the mitigation needs of the vulnerable populations and protected classes. The program will provide funding to eligible entities to expand existing housing, to increase the number of vulnerable persons served, and or bring existing housings to decent, safe, and sanitary conditions. SIH-MIT will provide funding to eligible entities who are committed to provide social interest housing and are working with diverse populations to ensure accessibility of individuals having a wide range of socioeconomic, physical, emotional, and other impairments. The scope of services considers all services required from the contractor to fully develop and design a project from the initial concept to the final drawings and specifications to be used for construction. This is a high-level workflow of the implementation phases and activities for the programs. During the project selection stage, the selected contractor shall assist the PRDOH with the project intent evaluation and selection of eligible projects to the implementation using CRC set-aside or SIH-MIT program funds. Afterwards, the selected contractor will enter in the phase 1 concept planning and feasibility analysis to determine if the project's implementation is viable under the CRC set-aside or SIH-MIT program. The project concept feasibility analysis shall consider factors such as budget limitations, current conditions of the project site and its buildings, required improvements to meet project goals, environmental considerations, project achievement of mitigation risk, and any other factor that may affect project's feasibility for implementation. For projects deemed eligible and viable, the contractor shall coordinate, prepare, gather, and submit to PRDOH a full agreement package to PRDOH for execution of an agreement with the project owner for the project's implementation. Subsequently, during the phase 2, design, environmental review, and permitting, the selected contractor will assist the PRDOH managing the budget, scheduling, and implementation of design and environmental clearance activities for projects assigned under the contract. Also, will ensure that required permits and endorsement from regulatory agencies are obtained. In addition, the selected contractor will prepare complete procurement packages and make the necessary coordination for the goals and the services necessary to undertake the construction activities of projects assigned under the contract. This includes both construction and inspection services procurement. As well, it will provide technical assistance in the pre-bid conference to clarify the project's needs and assure responsive bids. Finally, through the phase 3, construction and closeout, the selected contractor will assure that all contractors, subcontractors, and other participants fully understand the project's design and requirements at every stage, including any permitting or endorsement conditions. As well, he will monitor the construction process to anticipate difficulties, identify and document unforeseen conditions, and resolve issues early and keep the work flowing. To perform the aforementioned tasks, the contractor will make use of key staff as depicted in the scope of work. Here's a summary of the key staff requirements. The program manager will be the main point of contact between the PRDOH or its designated representative and the selected awardees. Shall be available on call and assist program status and progress meeting. Must be a professional architect or engineer licensed in Puerto Rico with at least 7 years of experience in project management or program management. The design and permitting coordinator will be responsible of ensuring the project designs are aesthetically aligned to the owner's requirement and responsive to the project goals and program guidelines. Must be a professional architect or engineer licensed in Puerto Rico with at least 10 years of experience developing or supervising multidisciplinary designs. The project will be responsible of managing and monitoring project plans, project schedules, work hours, budgets, and expenditures. Will ensure projects adhere to frameworks and all documentation is maintained appropriately for each project and assess project risks and issues and provide solutions where applicable. Must have a bachelor's degree or higher education in planning, engineering, architecture, project management, or a similar discipline with at least 3 years of experience working with construction projects or their management. The project controller will be responsible of the analysis and reporting data to develop a complete and accurate picture that inform decisions regarding the management quality and project controls. Also will identify and implement appropriate performance management techniques for the project. Must have a bachelor's degree or higher education in planning, engineering, architecture, project management, or a similar discipline. Last but not least, the scheduler will be responsible of developing, implementing, and maintaining an effective scheduling management system. Moreover, will coordinate and monitor project timelines and deadlines. Must have a degree in construction, engineering, architecture, or related technical field with at least 2 years of experience with construction scheduling. The following are the tasks that the selected contractor will perform under this scope of work. Task 3.1, project management. In this task, the selected contractor will be responsible of the management of every stage of projects assigned under the contract, beginning with the original concept and the project definition, and ending with the project closeout after construction. On task 3.2, design services. This task involves the project concept feasibility, planning and feasibility analysis, preliminary design, the construction drawings and specifications, services during the procurement phase, and the services during the construction phase. Task 3.3, environmental. The selected contractor will be responsible of obtaining environmental clearances through the environmental review of the proposed activities for the project. Task 3.4, additional services. The additional services may include surveys, studies, and tests for the contractor to deliver a complete and thorough design. No additional services shall be performed by the contractor without the written approval from PRDOH. Task 3.5, reimbursable expenses. This will include the mandatory fees of the Puerto Rico College of Engineers and Land Surveyors, permit taxes, and permit application fees. The task 3.6, architectural design, guidelines, and outline specifications will only apply to the CRC set-aside. This task involves the preparation and establishment of formal guidance as to the expected standards for the design of the community resilience centers. The contractor shall complete project assignments and deliverables within the following timeframes. For the architectural design guidelines and outline specifications for the CRC set-aside, this deliverable must be submitted within 90 days of PRDOH request to perform the task. The same will be for the project concept planning and feasibility analysis to be submitted to PRDOH within 90 days of the project assignment. The preliminary design and the working drawings and specifications for the environmental review will be delivered to PRDOH as agreed among the contractor and PRDOH for each project. And finally, the services during the procurement process, the contractor will prepare the procurement packages and submit to PRDOH within 15 days after completing the construction drawings and specifications phase. All inquiries and communications regarding the RFP must be submitted to PRDOH by prospective proposers.
Good morning. The RFP documents are available for download at the CDBG-DR website. Important dates for this RFP are the following: submission of questions and requests for clarifications on or before June 6, 2022. Responses to questions and requests for clarifications, June 10, 2022. Proposals due date from June 29, 2022 at 9 a.m. up to on or before July 1, 2022 at 4 p.m. Submission of inquiries and addenda. Each prospective proposal shall submit all questions in writing on or before June 6, 2022 to the CDBG-DR mailing address. Responses to all proposers' questions will be answered by addenda and will be posted on the CDBG-DR website. All prospective proposers must monitor the CDBG-DR website to retrieve addenda, if any issue for this procurement process. Proposals are to be submitted On the proposal's due date stated in the section 4.3 of this RFP, responses to the RFP submitted after the prescribed deadline will not be allowed. Submission of responses to the RFP will only be accepted by electronic means. Proposers are advised that the PRDOH will neither require nor accept physical proposal submissions. If proposals are submitted in both electronic and in paper formats, the PRDOH will only consider the electronic format for evaluation. The proposer will receive access to submit their electronic proposals after registration process is completed through the CDBG-DR website. At the scheduled due date for electronic proposal submission, a link button will be enabled to provide access to the registration form. Complete all the required fields in the form. Proposal must be submitted within the closing date and time for proposals as established in section 4.3 of this RFP. Access to upload the electronic proposal will commence 3 business days before the scheduled due date and time. The evaluation committee will evaluate responsive proposals in accordance with the criteria listed below. The criteria below are listed in order of importance. Professional qualification and experience of the proposer to successfully perform the services required in this RFP, as evidenced by the successful implementation of similar programs in large complex public organizations, preferably state government and municipalities. Professional qualifications and specialized experience of the proposed key personnel as evidenced by relevant experience to the role proposed. Quality of the proposed approach and its relevance to the services described in this RFP, including implementation schedule and understanding of the PRDOH goals. Capacity of the key personnel and the ability to commit adequate time to effectively perform the services in their role assigned within the required time frame. Financial stability of the proposer and its capacity to effectively perform the services. Stamp registration. The proposer and first-tier subcontractor must be registered in the system for award management. At the time of the proposal submission or initiate the registration process right after the bid submission. For more information about the system for award management, go to the SAM website. There is no registration fee to create or renew. Update your organization's information on SAM. Awards will only be issued to entities that are clear and not ineligible for award of a contract due to suspension, debarment, or HUD imposed limited denial of participation. Now we have a presentation from the Senior Compliance Consultant, Ivana Harrington, for an introduction to Section 3 and MWBE business.
Good morning, everybody. We will be sharing our screen. Ruth, could you stop sharing the screen? Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the space to present compliance and labor standards requirements. This presentation is prepared in English. However, should anyone need this presentation in Spanish, you can request using the protocols for this RFP. I am representing the Department of Housing Federal Compliance Team, led by Maria del Carmen Figueroa. Today, we will discuss as part of our agenda an overview of compliance roles and responsibilities. We will also cover some tools that are available online. We will also talk about documenting efforts, taking advantage of training that's made available, and reporting requirements, as well as frequently asked questions. In this presentation, we will be discussing Section 3 training, hiring, and contracting opportunities, minority and women-owned business participation, and fair housing and equal opportunity. Contractors or subrecipients using CDBG-DR or CDBG-MIT funding have certain roles and responsibilities. These include assigning staff who will attend the day-to-day implementation of federal compliance requirements, attending trainings and workshops, using tools and templates, executing the activities, and completing documentation that's required. You can also participate in Department of Housing sponsored technical assistance sessions. You must complete quarterly reporting and comply with the reporting requirements. The procurement package contains language that offers contractors the ability to seek bonus points. Please remember to use the references and the templates that are made available and that we will be discussing in this presentation. Proposers seeking Section 3 bonus points should provide their self-certifications and sufficient evidence for how they qualify as a Section 3 business. The Department of Housing offers a template on their website. Proposers who are seeking MBE or WBE bonus points should provide a copy of their MWBE certification to provide evidence of this status. The certificates provided should show the dates and indicate that they are currently active. The procurement package contains sections that speak to the applicability and the requirements for MWBE. Within those sections, you will find helpful links to online resources that are made available, such as the policy guide. Procurement packages also contain language for Section 3 under 24 CFR 75. Although for this particular procurement, the contractor awarded will not need to comply with Section 3. However, you may find the information useful if you are seeking to prove Section 3 status to earn potential bonus points. Let's talk about Section 3. Section 3 is a federal requirement from the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968. This requirement states that we should provide to the greatest extent feasible job training, employment, contracting, and other economic opportunities generated by this HUD financial assistance to be directed to low and very low-income persons and businesses. The Department of Housing makes available a Section 3 policy guide on their website, both in English and in Spanish. Contractors must read and implement activities as applicable and necessary. They also are responsible for their subcontractors assuring that benchmarks are met. For Section 3 projects, 24 CFR 75 has established the following benchmarks. 25% of the total labor hours for a project should be work hours of Section 3 workers. And from that 25%, 5% of the total labor hours should be work hours of targeted Section 3 workers. Let's talk about the definition of a Section 3 business. A Section 3 business refers to a business concern meeting at least one of the following criteria, which is documented within the last 6 months. The business is at least 51% owned and controlled by low or very low-income persons. It could also be a business that has at least 51% ownership and controlled by a public housing resident or residents who currently live in Section 8 assisted housing. It could also be a business that has over 75% of the labor hours performed for that business over the prior 3-month period by Section 3 workers. In this slide, we're going to look at the definition of a Section 3 worker. A Section 3 worker can be any worker who fits or, when hired within the last 5 years, fit at least one of the following categories. The worker's income for the previous or annualized calendar year is below the income limit established by HUD. It could also be a worker who is employed by a Section 3 business concern. Or the worker is a youth build participant. Now let's talk about what a targeted Section 3 worker is. A Section 3 targeted worker for community development financial assistance projects is a person who is employed by a Section 3 business. It could also be a person who currently fits or when hired fit at least one of the following categories as documented within the past 5 years. Someone living within the service area or the neighborhood of the project as defined in 24 CFR 75.5, or a youth build participant. The neighborhood or service area for a targeted Section 3 worker is that in which you can find at least 5,000 persons within a 1-mile radius of the project. If there are less than 5,000 persons within that 1-mile radius, you can expand that radius until you have 5,000 persons around the Section 3 covered project site. Each year, HUD releases new income limits. These income limits typically come out around April. The latest income limits for 2022 are made available on the slide. The Department of Housing has created various forms for helping maintain compliance. There is a Section 3 plan that can be used by contractors or subrecipients. There are also Section 3 self-certification forms. And finally, there is a form to help you document your efforts. Let's take a closer look at your Section 3 plan. This document helps you identify new hiring needs, subcontracting needs. It helps you plan your outreach efforts and assists your coordinators in identifying the day-to-day activities. It helps you define compliant procedures, and it helps you understand your reporting requirements. You can use the link on the slide to visit the website and download a Section 3 plan template. In this slide, we want to focus on the Section 3 self-certification forms. These useful tools help you uncover if workers or subcontracting businesses meet the income thresholds required. HUD offers also a business registry. This registry allows you to register yourself as a Section 3 business. The registry also has a tool that helps serve folks looking for Section 3 business databases. We will now turn our attention to minority and women-owned business compliance. There are various regulations that call for the inclusion of minorities and women business enterprises. 2 CFR 200.321, as well as Executive Orders 11625, 12138, and 12432 establish the participation of MWBE firms, which seek to ensure that when possible, contracts and other economic opportunities funded in whole or in part with federal housing and community development assistance are directed to minority business enterprises and women business enterprises. The Department of Housing has established an MWBE policy guide. This is available on the website in both English and Spanish. You can access those documents using the link on the slide. Let's look at what a minority business enterprise is. An MBE is defined as a business which is at least 51% owned, operated, and controlled on a daily basis by one or more American citizens of the following ethnic minority and/or gender and/or military veteran classifications: African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, Native American, Hasidic Jew, persons with disabilities, and other individuals who can prove social and economic disadvantage. Women business enterprises, or WBEs, are businesses that are at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more women. The owners must be U.S. citizens or legal resident aliens, whose business formation and principal place of business are here in the U.S. or its territories, and whose management and daily operation is controlled by women. The MWBE policy guide will identify that there are goals which apply to professional services, purchasing supplies, and construction contracting. There is a total of 20% minimum participation goal. This 20% is comprised of 10% for women-owned businesses and 10% for minority-owned businesses. Contractors are expected to perform good faith efforts for contracting, subcontracting, and purchasing opportunities of $10,000 or more during the life of the contract. The Department of Housing has also created various forms for helping maintain compliance with MWBE. One of those is the MWBE Utilization Plan. This document template allows contractors or subrecipients to identify how they plan on being in compliance with these contracting goals. There is also a waiver form. This document allows contractors or subrecipients to identify if they meet the requirements to waive their goals for MWBE. Let's look at the MWBE Utilization Plan. This tool helps you compile data for your subcontracting. It helps you identify what needs you may have. It helps hold discussions on creating supplier and contractor listings, and it provides awareness of meeting the goal for the contract and tracking. You can use the link on the slide to go to the website and download the plan template. Let's review how you should complete your MWBE Utilization Plan. The Department of Housing Utilization Plan template can be used throughout the life cycle of your contract. Completing the plan is pretty easy. You should read the general instructions in row 3 and complete sections A, B, and F from the document. Complete the information requested in the yellow cells. When we talk about certified minority or women-owned businesses, we are referring to those who have filed applications with federal entities such as SBA and others that you see here on the slide. Businesses who are certified can provide proof of completing an application process to be officially recognized as a certified minority or women-owned business. If you are registered as an MWBE, you should provide your valid certificate or other evidence in response to this RFP. In this section, we will be discussing how to complete your efforts and quarterly reporting. In order for you to report your efforts, the Department of Housing provides a tool. This tool helps you document and identify how often you are seeking interactions with Section 3 businesses and MWBE businesses. The quarterly reporting form allows for you to share and report your data with the Department of Housing. This allows the agency to fulfill oversight responsibilities and monitor the progress throughout the year. The Department of Housing's quarterly reporting form allows for the user to capture multiple compliance areas all in one Excel form. Section 3 data is collected. MWBE data is collected as well. FHEO information is also documented within the report. And finally, for those who have construction projects, there is a report for Davis-Bacon Unfound Workers Efforts Reporting. Awarded contractors will be responsible for reporting 4 times a year, on April 5th, July 5th, October 5th, and January 5th. This ensures that you are meeting benchmarks and documenting your efforts. The quarterly reporting template is also available on the Department of Housing website. Let's briefly discuss FHEO. Your RFP package will also contain a model contract which outlines fair housing and equal opportunity areas of compliance. Contractors are responsible for ensuring compliance with federal civil rights and fair housing through their contractors, subcontractors, and so forth, ensuring that all necessary efforts are being made. The Fair Housing Act and Sections 109 and 504 prohibit discrimination against the following protected classes of people: race, color, national origin, religion, sex, age, familial status, disability, gender identity, and sexual orientation. The Fair Housing Act is part of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. There are many executive orders, laws, and statutes that govern the non-discrimination of protected classes to ensure equal opportunity for individuals in accessing federally funded programs. Equal opportunity is afforded to protected classes through a number of these federal laws and executive orders. The Department of Housing has published policy documents attending FHEO as well as Language Access Plan. These policies must be implemented by contractors and subrecipients. They are publicly available online in both English and Spanish. You are encouraged to click on the links and access the resources available. As a recipient of HUD financial assistance, the Department of Housing must ensure that all programs affirmatively further access to fair housing and that the programs provide equal opportunity for participation and employment. Reasonable accommodations are changes made to policies, practices, services, and structures or modifications to afford equal opportunity to individuals with disabilities. The costs associated with providing reasonable accommodations and modifications are to be incurred by programs receiving federal funding. HUD contemplates these additional costs as necessary to ensure that the programs and activities it funds do not discriminate against people with disabilities. The slide contains a link for you to access the reasonable accommodation page on the Department of Housing website. Limited English proficiency refers to a person's limited ability to read, write, speak, or understand English. Due to Puerto Rico's high Spanish-speaking population, all entities and contractors using the CDBG-DR funding must seek to ensure that both a person's limited ability to read, write, speak, or understand English or Spanish will not place them at a disadvantage in the participation of programs. Let's briefly discuss some common, frequently asked questions. Can a business be both Section 3 and MWBE? The answer is yes. A business or a contractor can be both because these compliance areas are actually separate. Section 3 identifies the level of incomes to determine the status. MWBE uses race and gender information to qualify a business. If I am not planning on subcontracting, do I still need to complete documents? The answer is yes. You should still submit your MWBE utilization plan, the documentation of efforts template, and your quarterly reports. If Section 3 doesn't apply to my contract, do I still have to complete the quarterly report? The answer is yes. You will have to complete the MWBE portion of the report and the portion of the report that attends to FHEO. If I'm either an MBE or WBE, do I fulfill the total goals? You may have safe harbor for one of the goals for MWBE participation of 10%, but you will still have an additional 10% goal to show good faith efforts for any subcontracting or purchasing you perform with the CDBG-DR and CDBG-MIT funding. What happens if I don't fulfill the goals before the end of my contract? All awarded contractors should perform and document their efforts. The Department of Housing has developed templates discussed in this presentation that help you complete the exercise. You can submit a waiver before the end of your contract for approval. This waiver request should be submitted with the efforts and justification as appropriate. Thank you for attending today's training. We hope you found the material helpful. Please remember to direct all your questions through the established protocols for this procurement. Thank you to the procurement team for allowing us to present this material. I will stop sharing the presentation so you can continue with the session.
Thank you, Ivana, and all attendees. This will be the end of our presentation. This meeting has been recorded and will be available in the CDBG-DR program YouTube webpage. All inquiries will be answered by an addendum. And again, thank you for being here this time with us. Have a great day and bye. Until next time.